Behold, the divine light guides us all.
I, Ezra, saw upon the Mount Zion a great people whom I could not number, and they all praised the Lord with songs. And in the midst of them there was a young man of high stature, taller than all the rest. And upon every one of their heads he set crowns, and was more exalted, which I marveled at greatly. So I asked the angel and said, Sir, what are these? He answered and said unto me, These be they that have put off the mortal clothing, and put on the immortal, and have confessed the name of Yahweh. Now are they crowned and receive palms. Then said I unto the angel, What young person is it that crowneth them, and giveth them palms in their hands? So he answered and said unto me, It is the Son of Yahweh, whom they have confessed in the world. Then began I greatly to commend them that stood so stiffly for the name of the Lord. Then the angel said unto me, Go thy way, and tell my people what manner of things, and how great wonders of the Lord thy power thou hast seen.
Whosoever therefore shall confess me before men, him will I confess also before my Father which is in heaven.
Matthew chapter 26, verse 29. But I say unto you, I will not drink henceforth of this fruit of the vine, which is wine, which is made from grapes, as you know. And our Lord, he loves to drink, man. That's something that our Lord took pleasure in when he was here on this planet Earth. He's not going to do it anymore until he returns to do it with you. Showing just how much he loves his elect, man. He's not even going to drink until he does it again with you. I will not drink henceforth of this fruit of the vine until that day when I drink it new with you in my Father's kingdom. So what a moment that's going to be, man.
All right, Shalom. First and foremost, I would like to give all praise and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shai, Bahashim, Makakwadash, and double honors unto the apostles and the elders of GMS who rule well, teach well, being great examples to his younger brothers, and peace and blessings and salutation to the hopeful lake out there pushing his word and truth and in sincerity across the four winds in the name of Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai, pushing to get up out of here. Shalom to the hopeful lake, the believers, the listeners who now came back to the obedience of the scriptures through faith in Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai. All right, and what I got going on today, in the spirit, we want to get into a lesson, dealing with the joy of the hypocrite is at its end. Okay, and the hypocrite that we're speaking of is Esau Edom. Okay, and then this devil's rulership. Matter of fact, before we even get there, okay, because when you go into the book of Revelation, and we go back to Job, okay, because this devil's rulership is based off pure deception, witchcraft, enchantments, confusion. Okay, that's the atmosphere that the devil loves to operate in, because it keeps people off balance, while he forwards wickedness, oppression, tyranny, however you want to say it. Okay, but this devil operates on keeping people extremely confused, okay, dumbed down, okay, distracted, enchanted, okay, divided, while this man runs the earth in complete wickedness, man. So you go into the book of Revelation, chapter 20, verse 7, it says, and when the 1,000 years are expired, Satan shall be loosed out of his prison and shall go out to deceive the nation which are in the four quarters of the earth. Okay? So this devil, he was loose, as the Lord, put this man to the side, for 1,000 years. Esau was sidelined. Okay, he wasn't able to have authority, influence, power in the earth. The Heavenly Father sidelined this nigga, man. Okay, so as Esau was pushed, to the side for 1,000 years, what they call the Middle Ages or the Dark Ages, you know, this devil was allowed to come back into power, and he will come back. All right, and a major part of this devil foundation would be based in deception. Okay, the foundation of this man's rulership is based in complete deception. Oh no, you got so like and he's able to become more crafty, all right, and master that deception through his technology. Okay, through the media, all right, everything plays a factor, through the media, through social media, through AI now, through the music, the foods, the the all these different, the school system, all of it is geared to keep you confused and deceived. Plantation Christianity, everything outside the truth is meant to deceive you, just to sum it up. Okay, but what it will lead to, Gog and Magog, to gather them together to battle, the number of whom is the saying of the sea, which is speaking of the war, okay, that the West, this beast system, America, NATO, and EU, where they're going to wage, against Russia, which they're already waging it with this whole Ukraine. Ukraine was a a sacrifice that the West made, to try to chip away at the strength of Russia, to destabilize Russia. Okay, to have them occupied at war, in hopes to cause civil unrest, with the government, okay, and the citizens. You see, to try to weaken Russia's military might. Okay, but it backfired. Okay, now we know that the elites, they profit, off war. Okay, so there's so many reasons why they do, one thing, because it's a wicked empire. So there's always several wicked agendas that surround, these devils' moves. Okay, but what we're seeing now is the beginning of this battle. Okay, of East and West really begin to intensify. All right, and the latest happenings, what's going on in Iran, shows that the Lord, is stirring the pot. Okay, for this thing to go to the next level. Okay, according to prophecy, and we know it's all according to the Lord's time, because other prophecy have to take place. Okay, but everything we're seeing is Esau declining. Okay, it is directly linked to the decline of Esau, Edom, and this wicked kingdom and this wicked evil empire. Okay, the damn hypocrite. So when you read the book of Job, chapter 20, verse 4, it says, knowest thou not this of old, since man was placed upon earth, that the triumphing of the wicked is short, and the joy of the hypocrite but for a moment. Okay, so we in the time, okay, of that short moment that this devil, will be allowed to rule, is getting ready to come to an end. Okay, because he's been loose for a short season. When the Lord allowed this man, to come back into power, his kingdom was already numbered. Okay, so this man is in the last days of empire. Okay, and what we're seeing this man do, okay, is try to reestablish himself and try to re you know conquer the earth, man. Like this devil is trying to reconquer the earth under this new world order. You know, he's trying to weaken the masses, strengthen himself, because he's at the end. He can feel that moment coming to an end. Okay, the Lord only gave this man a moment to rule compared to the eternal kingdom that we got coming. Okay, this is only a moment. You see, and this devil, he's in his triumph. When he's been able to dominate the earth, militarily, economically, his influence politically. You see, you know, with his so-called wisdom and philosophies, he's been able to dominate the earth. But it was only for a moment, and we at the end of that moment. Okay, so that word "moment" in the Hebrew is "regah." All right, "regah," which it says a moment. Okay, it says a moment. You go down, it says strong definition. It says, i.e., a very short space of time, instant, moment, space, suddenly. Okay, because compared to an eternal righteous kingdom, well, this wicked empire, is likened to a moment, an instant, a short space. Okay, this is why Scripture referred to as a little season. This is the devil's little season to be the absolute wicked. To just run amok, cause chaos, confusion, and war. Okay, deception throughout the earth and destroy himself, man. Okay, so Esau is on the biggest path to self-destruction. Okay, and these Edomites have fought over every empire that they've had. Okay, and this is just going to be the biggest fight that they're going to have amongst one another, because now they have weaponry that they've never possessed before. Okay, so all roads lead to this man, you know, running to his own self-destruction, and Yahweh Shai is just coming to finalize it. Okay, so there's nothing left, okay, of this devil's power structure when Yahweh Shai comes through. Because these devils, they will just continue to go to war with each other forever. Okay, take a time out, you know, then, they would invest in one, government. It'd be a clique, they'll come together and start these, you know, different blocks and, different pacts and treaties and dominate the earth. And, the other side would be left out. And then eventually they'll go to war again. So these devils, okay, if they wasn't taken out, they would just constantly go to war with each other, okay, within their own kingdom. So Yahweh Shai is coming to end all the madness, man. Okay, the triumphing of the wicked is short, you know. So Yahweh Shai is coming to put an end to the devil, all right, his constant violence, deception, and war. You see, and this man is being found out to be a major hypocrite, man. Because this devil was able to one of his major deceptions, was he transferred himself to this Bible believing, God fearing, people loving, humanitarian philanthropist, okay, etc., etc., etc. He was able to transfer himself as if he was just this caring, loving, you know, uh, all about life and equality, liberty, all these words he threw around, okay, which are nothing but enchantments. But he transformed himself into the standard of righteousness, the standard of morale. Okay, when this man is that he's the wicked, he's the devil. Okay, and he's always been there, but he's been able to, portray himself as otherwise, and that's part of the deception. That's the major part of the deception. Okay, and now as we get closer and closer to the end, we're seeing Esau's pure nature. Okay, he can't hide not being himself anymore. Okay, the Most High is making this man bear, as the scriptures say. He's out there now. You see? So when you read this in Job 25, it said that the triumphing of the wicked is short and the joy of the hypocrite, but for a moment. Okay? Because when you go into that word hypocrite, let's look it up in the Edom online. All right, this man just been acting, man. He act like he cares about the people. He act like he cares about the economy. Okay, for the common man, the working class. Okay, the minorities, women and children. He's so women's rights, women equality. He's been acting like he cares. Okay, this man never cared. All right, It's always been the act. He's been acting like he cares about world peace. Okay, he's been acting like he cares about these what they call third world countries. Well, they're third world countries because of this nigga, man. Okay, the reason that there's a third world country is because of this nigga that's in power. Okay, who impoverished these nations. Okay, and enriches himself. Okay, he will extrapolate the resources because most of these third world countries are all rich in resources. Okay, if you was able to, we look up. I wonder if it could give us something. You know, let's see. I'm gonna play this video, but then I'm gonna see if it give us a list. While I'm playing this video, I look it up, see if it give us some. I'll write this down. Boy, you go into Hypocrite, it says a false pretender to virtue or religion. He's this big Christian. He's God fearing, God loving. He's all about Jesus and doing the right thing. And, spreading the love of Christianity through the earth. That's all he wants. What they say, Trump bombed Nigeria to protect the Christians. Okay? You see, he's a pretender, man. All right? It says a stage actor, pretender, a dissembler. Okay? And there's no one that's a big of a pretender and the actor than Esau Edom. He's in the Holy Land pretending to be us. Okay? Pretending. You see? And this is what this man is all about. Okay? Because he loves keeping the masses off balance. So this devil is the biggest hypocrite the earth has ever seen. You see? So I got this video because, and we know that the elites, they're behind the scenes and orchestrating certain things. But what's happening, man, these devils, they're losing it. Okay? They're losing control of the narrative. Okay, they got so many things going on that his hypocrisy is starting to bleed through because he got so much going on. He got so many different narratives, and he's trying to distract. Mosai got this man all over the place, man. Okay, and he's crashing out. He got certain things that's going according to how he want, but then there's things that's not going according to how he want. Okay, so let's play this video here. Because we know, the latest raid for a while was, the protests in Iran. And then what did he do? He got into character as if he cares about the people of Iran. Like he cares about the Iranian people. America has completely, hindered, the number one reason for inflation in Iran is because of sanctions. Now, Iran leadership, they admitted to, some poor decision making, and they tried to make good on that with, giving people free apartments and different things or whatever, but that was their business. Okay. But at the end of the day, here it is, the devil, when there's a protest against any government, because even if it's authentic, because what this devil does now with his agent provocateurs and his sleeper cells, and okay, that he has in these other nations, because he just get people that's already, been against the government. He buys them out, he trains them up, he arms them, give them resources they need to formulate, okay, a rebellion, or a riot or uproar. But sometimes, they can start it from scratch, where they start a rebellion and uprising from scratch. And then sometimes they can just latch on to, okay, authentic, protest, and they can just jump in and intensify the protest and make them violent, make them be destructive, okay, or they can just fan the flames, you know. But either way, we know that when we see these protests, these devils are somewhere in the mix fanning the flames, okay, or even if they don't have agents on the ground, it's because something they did in the background within the government that cause the people to go crazy, right, and lose it. So this devil was always involved. But the latest thing in Iran was, you know, uh, Trump, was just gonna be this hero, gonna go to Iran, airstrike, and topple the government and just save the people of Iran. And they just care so much about the Iranian people. You better not touch the Iranian people. Okay? Pretender, hypocrite, actor, man. A stage act. Okay? So, you know, these devils got into character with that whole thing. But then look what's happening in these devils' own governments, man. Okay, now even with the small hats, and see, you're not going to see this on the news. So let's play this real quick.
Among the Israelis, what started as a protest against judicial reforms is now becoming a rebellion against the Netanyahu government.
Israelis rallied in Tel Aviv on Saturday, demanding for an independent state commission of inquiry into the events of October 7th, 2023, and for a change in Tel Aviv.
And you see, these are these small hats protesting against Bibi Netanyahu, man. Okay, they call it boy Bibi Escobar. You see? But you're not going to get this on repeat in Western media. There's not going to be a call for regime change, okay, in Western media. Okay? So this is going on. This was the 17th, which was 3 days ago, this past weekend. But you're not going to get a call for regime change, okay? Because, and it's beautiful to see these small heads catching hell, to see these devils, okay, at odds with each other. Satan divided against Satan. It's on every level, from the elites, to these different governments, okay, to the common Edomite, okay, they're divided, man. Because on the flip side, you got, these warmongers that love to see, the IDF military terrorize, okay, all these different countries around them, but then what's happening as these nations begin to hit back, they like, look, it was cool when it was just one way, but now they sending shit back, and that shit hidden. That Iron Dome ain't what y'all said it was. Nigga, you starting this shit, but we gotta eat it. Nigga, you gonna get on the wings of Zion and be in Miami some goddamn where, man. Okay? So let's play this.
On Saturday, demanding for an independent state commission of inquiry into the events of October 7th, 2023, and for a change in government.
Imagine you step out into the street because your country is spiraling, because leadership is dragging you through political chaos, war decisions that never seem to end, and a government that acts like accountability is a nuisance. You bring a flag, maybe a sign, maybe just your voice. And instead of your leaders listening, you're met with barricades, arrests, and a security state posture that basically says, we'll crush you before we'll answer you. That's the atmosphere around Israel's protests right now. People are still mobilizing in Tel Aviv and Jerusalem against Netanyahu's government, still showing up, still refusing to pretend everything is normal. And what makes it sickening is not only the crackdown dynamics themselves, but the way the world reacts depending on who's doing the cracking down. Because when Israel does it, the global moral megaphone suddenly goes silent. Let's ground this in what's actually happening. Today, demonstrations again gathered in Tel Aviv's Habima Square, hundreds of renewed anger aimed at Netanyahu's government and the direction it keeps forcing on the country. Reports around that day tied the protests to renewed efforts to advance the judicial overhaul and wider frustrations with the government. And the mood wasn't polite disagreement. It was a public verdict that Netanyahu's project is corrosive, selfish, and dangerous. And it isn't just one type of protest or one political constituency. In Jerusalem, Israeli-Palestinian citizens demonstrated outside Netanyahu's office, about 500,000 people, angry about rising crime and what they describe as police inaction or failed protection in their communities. Think about that. Different communities, different grievances, same conclusion. The government is failing people and power responds with indifference or force. Like and share to help me out. Hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. It is free. Thank you. And if you want an even clearer picture of what Netanyahu under pressure looks like, look back to November 2023. A crowd in the hundreds pushed through police barriers around Netanyahu's residence, chanting "Jail now," because of anger over government failures. And in September 2024, reporting described police arresting at least 10 protesters outside Netanyahu's home in Jerusalem, with police periodically pushing into the crowd and confiscating protest items.
They at their boy doorstep. You know, and another thing too, a reason for a lot of these protests, because remember, when Hezbollah had displaced 70,000, of these Israelis from North Israel. They were displaced. They couldn't be in Northern Israel because it was so bad up there when Hezbollah, was warned against the IDF in the north. It displaced 70,000 of them small hats. Okay, so they wasn't able to work. Businesses were shutting down. And then you had the Houthi rebels. See what the Houthi rebels was doing? They was targeting, the shipping that was going to the small hats. Okay, businesses failed behind it. The economy suffered behind it. You see, you're not going to hear this side of the story on Western media. The common people is really suffering behind Netanyahu. Yeah, look cute. Oh, they killed the leader of Hezbollah. They blew up 3,000 phones. Okay, but it's some suffering going on. Okay, amongst the common people. All right, amongst the state of Israel, man. These small hats, man. Which this is beautiful. You know, and not to just get too geopolitical. All right, but what they call the axis of resistance. You had the Hezbollah, you had Hamas, you had the Houthis, you had proxies in Syria and Iraq. When the axis of resistance was in full throttle, and it was putting a lot of pressure on these small hats economy, and Iran didn't have to shoot a bullet. Okay, it was just proxies and shipping disruptions, man. Okay, and they were putting a lot of pressure on these small hats, man. Okay, so they've been protesting for the last few years about your boy BB, man. And they was at the front door a few times. Now, let's play this some more.
So, when people ask, do protesters try to get to Netanyahu's home? They do, again and again, because they want the country's leadership to feel the heat it keeps dumping onto ordinary people. And the state response, again and again, protesters try to get to Netanyahu's home. They do, again and again, because they want...
Let's say, it says more for BB Wars, no more for BB Wars, man. They don't want no, this nigga just constantly at war. And we're going to go into some few things during the 12-day war too. So let's play this.
The country's leadership to feel the heat it keeps dumping onto ordinary people. And the state response, again and again, is not humility or reflection, it's force and arrests. I will come to that later, but let's listen to this pastor unload on war criminal Netanyahu.
If you're still supporting Israel in the year 2025, there's something seriously wrong with you as a person.
You always wondered why that app didn't exist. Now you can make it. Meet Replit H.
You do not have a normal, healthy sense of empathy and morality. It's 2025. Israeli soldiers are telling the Israeli press that they're being ordered to massacre starving children trying to obtain food from aid centers. People by the thousands are leaving evangelical churches. more than any time in our nation's history. And a lot of it, if not most of it, has to do with they are sick and tired of their evangelical pastors and churches supporting genocide against the Palestinian people. They're sick of it.
So you got people, leaving, which he's finna trying to go into into Jesus, okay? But yeah, you got these pastors, because we know not too long ago, they flew a lot of pastors out, okay, to go to Israel, all right, to all right, to be debrief, okay, on their talking points concerning the small hats, okay. I think you have it. As a matter of fact, let me see if this is it right here. All right, yeah, let's go here. You see, so you got, everybody. You see, everybody is calling this nigga out, man, because he's just openly wicked, man. All right, this devil, he's not, he's taking the mask off of this humanitarian, this angel. The scriptures say even Satan himself, turns into the angel of light, that transforms himself to the angel of light. Okay, so the devil, the mask is coming off, because the devil is getting frustrated as he's trying to set up this new world order. Okay, and then Mr. Nice Guy Act ain't moving the needle for him. So this devil, he has to be the devil and really show himself. He has to get this done. Okay, so you got this here. It says 1,000 white pastors travel to Israel for propaganda training from indicted war criminals and are asked to recruit 10,000 more. Israel is training American pastors to defend a man charged with genocide. Okay, you see? Let's see what it says.
Israeli leaders encourage the pastors to be bold and express gratitude for their support.
Stand up and be counted. Tell the truth. Speak to young people. Speak up and be counted. I'm counting on you, and I know you'll do what has to be done. That's what our destiny calls for.
This is not just Israel's fight. This is a fight for civilization. We are facing very much a civilizational struggle like we saw in the 30s between Nazism and the free world. Today, that Nazism is Islamism in coordination with communism, which today's expression is called woke, but it's the same thing.
Behind the scenes, Shira Mills of the Friends of Zion Museum helped make the summit possible.
Never been done before. This is something very unique, very difficult, but here we are. From my point of view, it's miraculous.
The vision going forward, recruiting 10,000 more pastors in the next 36 months.
Because there's a lot of misinformation out there, a lot of young people that are...
There's a lot of truth out there. Okay, that's what's happening. There's a lot of truth, and this nigga is exposed, and he's trying to get back control of the narrative. I believe the IDF, okay, has took over TikTok, and they're paying $7,000, for pro, all right, Israeli post. He got certain people that they're paying to do pro-Israeli posts, and tweaking the algorithm to be pro-Zionist, and okay. Because this man has lost control of the narrative, man. The scripture said this man will be exposed and won't be able to hide himself, man. Okay, so this man, who he truly is coming through. Okay? It ain't that he changed. It's just who he truly is coming through now, man. Okay, he's been a hypocrite the whole time. Okay, and there's a lot of people leaving these these evangelical, if I'm saying it right, churches, these churches that are so pro small hat, these Christian churches that are so pro small hat, where they're leaving them because they're seeing, their eyes ain't lying to them. Like, these niggas is tripping. People don't even remember October 2nd. Okay? Because this man has done so much wickedness since then. Like his wickedness, you see, is the talking point now. Okay? So he had to get 1,000 pastors, and they told him to recruit 10,000 more to push these pro small hat talking points through Christianity, man. Because Christianity is played out. Okay? So-called white man, that Ned Flander, you know, it's played out, man. The Edomite Christian. No, man, you are the absolute devil, man. Okay? All you Edomites are a problem. You Edomites are the problem of the earth. Okay? And that's what's surfacing. You see? So let's play this a little more.
Not for Israel, and they're just getting the wrong information. So our whole idea here is to reach the youth of America and around the world and just show the truth.
With 1,000 pastors gathered at such a critical moment for the nation of Israel, when anti-Semitism is rising in our nation and globally, this has been such a pivotal turning point. I believe we can turn the tide of anti-Semitism.
1,000 pastors and leaders that didn't even know each other. And he called and we heard the word of the Lord. And this is a season to see anti-Semitism.
You will have one simple nigga out there. Okay? And look at this nigga stand out. He taller than every goddamn body. Okay? Just so a missile can hit the top of that nigga head first, man. Okay? I was thinking, I was just thinking, I bet there's one simple nigga out here, man, and this nigga, okay, Darnell show up. Okay, Pastor Darnell Jenkins. Okay? This nigga here, man. Oh boy. You devils finna lose, man. You Edomites finna lose, and you simple niggas in 2026, they're still allied with this goddamn devil and his wickedness, man. Okay?
Defeated, and to see God's glory come to his chosen people.
The missiles finna come, okay, to you imposters, man. Okay? And these devils, they get to run with their narrative unchallenged. You see, they get to do airstrikes. Say they the chosen and airstrike your ass. Okay? So yeah, man, you see, you know, they trying to rally the troops and get control of the narrative because they're losing. We're seeing the devil extremely desperate, man. This nigga don't got it figured out. Okay, he still got a few things in motion that's going, you know, like he won't. But then there's a lot of things that this devil is too much. Okay, and the spirit got this man running all over the place, man, trying to hold it down. Let's go here real quick. It's the book of Isaiah. All right, chapter 32 in verse 5. It said, the vile person, this is the NLT, Isaiah 32 and 5, it said, the vile person shall no more be called liberal, nor the churl to be bountiful. Okay? So, did I change the NLT? Because this nigga the vile person, man. Okay? But he's been looked at like he liberated the earth from all, you know, danger. Like he's the one that saved everybody from danger. But this nigga's the danger, man. Okay, the vile person no more be called liberal or liberator. Okay. Isaiah 32 and 5, it says, in that day, ungodly fools will not be heroes. Okay. So his whole hero act, because it's an act, remember, he's a hypocrite. Okay, so this whole hero act is getting old, played out. Okay, it says scoundrels would not be respected. And this man's a scoundrel. Okay? And he's not being respected. You know, they pulling up on BB House. Okay, the Houthi rebels shooting it out with American Navy. You see? Russia and China is, you know, starting their own thing on the side. Okay, a whole sanctioned, you know, market has emerged to where everybody's sanctioned. Well, nigga, shit, since everybody's sanctioned, nigga, we can just trade amongst each other. Nigga, you sanctioned, I'm sanctioned too. You say he's sanctioned, she's, everybody's sanctioned. So it's a whole market. So everything that the devil is doing to try to get a foothold and regain his foot in the earth, he's losing. Okay, and the things that the Lord is allowing the devil to still pull off, because it's within the will of the Lord that's going to bring this man, okay, to his end. Okay, he set him up for complete failure, man. Okay, verse 6, it said, for fools speak foolishness and make evil plans. Okay, so what this devil doing is evil and it's foolish. For him to even try to do this is foolish. For him to try to set up, for him to try to, start these wars and think he's gonna manage these wars, for him to try to think that he's gonna get technology to govern the earth and merge people with machines and, sidestep his judgment and redo, okay, prophecy in his favor is foolish, man. Okay, it says they practice ungodliness and spread false teachings about the Lord. Okay, so they got those 1,000, okay, simple pastors to go over there, evangelical, okay, evangelical, okay, pastors. All right, these evangelists, to go over there and just get some lies to bring back over here. And this whole thing with Christianity and Judaism, all of it is a lie about Yahweh Bashim Al-Shai. Zionism and all of it is a lie, man. Okay, every religion he has, every religion that's outside the truth, that's supposed to be about the Bible, is the lie that comes from this nigga, man. Okay, coming from the false prophet, the Roman Catholic Church, man, which is the mother of all these lies dealing with the Bible, man. Okay, it says, so they practice ungodliness and spread false teachings about the Lord. They deprive the hungry of food and give no water to the thirsty. And see, this is literal. Of course, he deprives, the Israelites, the true Israelites, from the truth. Okay, but then also you see these IDF soldiers saying they're getting orders to gun down, these Palestinians that's going to get aid. They're starving. Okay, and like I said earlier, you have all these third world countries that are poor. Why is that? Okay, because of this devil. You see? So let's I think I pulled up a quick list just to look at it. Let's see. It said, and then this devil will try to change the names. It said many countries once labeled third world, now often called developing or emerging economies, are rich in resources like oil, gas, minerals, cobalt, gold, platinum, diamonds, and timber, with prominent examples including Democratic Republic of Congo, Nigeria, Angola, South Africa, Venezuela, Iran, and Iraq. So why does he doesn't call them third world? He calls them emerging economies or developed economies, man. Goddamn devil, man. And he's always using these words to mask his wickedness, man. Okay? So you got these countries rich in these resources, but they're third world. Okay? Oil and natural gas, Venezuela, Nigeria, Angola, Iran, Iraq, Algeria, Libya. Okay? Cobalt and copper, Democratic Republic of Congo. Okay? Diamond and gold, DRC, Congo, Angola, South Africa, Ghana, Zimbabwe, platinum and chromium, South Africa. And why? And South Africa should be, okay, the most, decked out place of the earth with all these resources. No, but this devil just extrapolates it. Okay, destroy the environment, pay the locals pennies. Okay, then put the camera on these niggas and say we need to help them. Okay, why he's stealing every goddamn thing, man. Okay, South Africa, Gabon. Okay, and I'm pretty sure it's more. You probably go to the chat and see. You probably can go to the chat and get a more thorough. Okay, get a more thorough list, but just something real quick. But let's get a couple pre-sales, man. With this super long. Because the Lord's coming to put down, all this confusion, man. Okay, what's that in I think it's Isaiah 14. All right, this is Isaiah 14 and 4, 144. It says, "You will taunt the king of Babylon. You will say, the mighty man has been destroyed." Okay, and we see the Lord has a trap, prepared for Babylon. Okay, and they got to step into it. Okay, and it's going to lead to his destruction. And Babylon is just, representation of the end of Esau's might in the earth. Has been, okay, his his hammer. The elites, they use Babylon to hammer, these nations into submission. Okay, so the mighty man has been destroyed. Yes, your insolence, okay, your insolence is ended. Okay, it says, "For the Lord has crushed your wicked power and broken your evil rule." Okay, so the Most High is getting ready to crush this man' wicked empire and break his evil rule, man. This is the end of the devil, man. This is what all rolls into, man. Okay, is this man's power structure being completely destroyed out of the planet Earth. Okay, and that's going to be at the second coming of Yahweh. So, yeah, that's the point. Just wanted to get into that. Lord will, you brothers and you sisters edify once again. I'm going to give all praise and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shah, Bahashem, Kakadash. Double honors unto the apostles and the elders of GMS who rule well, teach well, being great examples to his younger brothers. And peace and blessings, salutations to the whole flesh. Shalom.